Hey, good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to be here to talk to you. Mention, there we go. All right. I'll try not to do that again. So, but it's great to have an opportunity to talk to you today. Uh, you see here, I want to point out a key word on the slide here. I am the interim director of the History and Culture Center. About a little over a year ago, Bobby Simpson, CEO at Crispus Attucks, called me in, and I was leading the search for the director of the History and Culture Center at that time, and I was striking out. I was having no luck with that search. So he asked me if I'd be willing to jump in an interim role to help get this place open. Well, here we are a little bit over a year later, and I'm still there, and I'm not going to drop that interim. I'm happily retired, and I want to get back to that at some point. But what got me involved here was, and I hope I convey this in my talk here this morning, I really believe in what they're doing here at Crispus Attucks. And one of the things I want to stress with you today is what Crispus Attucks, the organization, is all about. Because I think that's, we were talking here this morning, that might be a bit of a secret to most people. Most people don't have a full understanding of what Crispus Attucks York does. So let me get into what we're working on here at Crispus Attucks, and hopefully I'll convey to you I'll tell you what, I am struggling today. All right. Not you here. Not working. If I'm going to make all of you look much better, I'll struggle up here. And sure. Okay. Yep. Well, go ahead then, please. I actually saw it. It did work before. He tested it and it was all good to go. Here we are, though. All right. So the question I get asked all the time, why in the world would Crispus Attucks,
Backward, and you
Thank
have a
you.
laser if you need.
thank you, why would Crispus Attucks feel the need to build this History and Culture Center? If you know anything about York County History Center is one of the premier history centers you're going to find. Their archive is pretty much second to none. So we have that right down the street, a few miles down the street, the beautiful York County History Center. Why in the world would Crispus Attucks feel the need to build their own History and Culture Center? And the answer is pretty simple to us. It's because we have a story to tell. And it's a good story. When I think about the Crispus Attucks story, I break it into these 4 points. 1931. 1931, at that time, there were 2 organizations that represented the Black community in York, and both were struggling. Both were having difficulty financially. They were having trouble with attracting membership and just their purpose. Fortunately, in 1931, these 2 organizations had the wherewithal to say, you know what? Let's come together. Let's bond together. Let's give it a shot, see what we can do working hand in hand with each other. So we have Dr. Bowles, we have Reverend Montooth and Reverend Orr at the time who bring the Black community together into this organization called Crispus Attucks. That's 1931. 1931, they grow. Through the next 30 years, these organizations actually, they do thrive. They develop, they take off. Well, then we get to 1968, 1969, and during that time, you'll remember your history. York City was not the place to be. especially if you were an African American at that time. It was just a rough time. We're going to talk about that time period of civil unrest. We're going to talk about the race riots that occurred there. Crispus Attucks managed to stay open and be a facility where people could come together and feel safe and have conversation. And you're going to hear that come up again later in my talk. So from that point on, Crispus Attucks, they are a mainstay. They are the rock for the Black community in York. Well, 1968 to 1969, or 1968 to 1979, Crispus Attucks has 10 different directors. They have interims, they have directors who come in, and really what's happening here is these directors are saying, I don't want to live in New York City. I don't want to be a part of this. 1979, you have this young man, his name's Bobby Simpson. He's working at Caterpillar. And there's this idea, a couple of the board members at Crispus Attucks say, you know, I wonder if Elliott Breeze over at Caterpillar would loan us this young man for a year. And Bobby says, you know what, I'll do it for a year. I'll be the interim director of CA 1979 for 1 year. I'll help get this thing fixed. But he's not on the job more than a couple days. The United Way comes to him. At that time, the United Way provided about 95% of the funding for Crispus Attucks. And they said to Bobby, in no uncertain terms, you got 1 year. You either get this thing under control or we're taking that money back. Well, if you know Bobby, he loves that. He loves that kind of challenge. So what does he do? He decides at that time he will never be beholden to one organization. He'll never let just one funder control the organization, Crispus Attucks. So he decides diversification is the key. So he starts in motion in 1979, a lot of things that are still happening today. He decides that, you know what, we're going to diversify. We're going to open up a senior living center. We're going to open up a job training program. We're going to purchase housing and make it affordable for people in our community. We're going to become landlords, and we're going to become community, invigorators. We're going to clean this place up, open a charter school, an early learning center. I'm missing some things. But that's what they do. Today, the United Way funding, although extremely important to Crispus Attucks' success, is single-digit percentage of their overall budget. They own about 180 properties that they rent in a 4-block campus. So when you come to visit our History and Culture Center and you stand on that beautiful roof deck and you're out looking out, everything you're going to see there, Crispus Attucks owns. They own 180 properties they rent to families. They own several facilities that they rent to commercial space. Wellspan's is their biggest tenant. The Claiborne building and the Greenway Tech building, both are owned by Crispus Attucks and rented out. So that diversification started in 1979 and continues to today. And then I add the and beyond because we're still in the Bobby Simpson era. He started there in 1979, and he's still going strong. And there's no indication that the man's going to retire anytime soon. I was in his room yesterday, and he had a plaque that acknowledged 40 years of service. I said, "Well, man, that's a little outdated." He goes, "Really? How long have I been here?" And I think if I'm doing the math right, we're talking like 47 years. Who does that? Who does that? So that's part of the story we need to tell. And if you're looking for a blueprint for how to revitalize a community, how to enliven a community, I think Crispus Attucks has that blueprint that they could share with other communities that are struggling. I had to pull this out. I guess I'm a recovering Rotarian. I had been a Rotarian years ago in Mannheim when I worked in Mannheim Central, and we were what was called an ultra small club, I think, was a category. But as I was thinking about talking with you today, the four-way test came to my mind, and it actually leads into my next slide. And I just thought the coincidence was important to share. So the vision mission of this History and Culture Center, it kind of sounds to me a lot like that four-way test. Number one, and we have the grandiose statements. We've done the work, and we have the mission and vision statement. But in three points, promoting racial harmony, that's number one key. Secondly, creating pride in our community and within ourselves. You'll hear Crispus Attucks, you'll hear them talk, whether it's in the charter school, the early learning center, the senior living center, talking about taking ownership of yourself and doing for yourself. And then hearing and learning the lessons of history. We firmly believe that the lessons of history are best understood when you're hearing them from people that you know and you trust. And that's part of our goal there, is to tell the stories, the success stories, the stories of struggle in New York City with the voices and from the perspective of the people who were there. I pulled a couple headlines out of the paper. I think I started pulling this over the summer, and I just share these with you because I'm not sure I know what they mean, and I'm going to read them a little bit because they may not be readable for everyone in the back, but some articles were removed from the African American History Museum after executive order. It happened this summer. Smithsonian disputes the claims that the Black history artifacts were removed. So we got one article that says they were removed. We got another one that says, well, no, that didn't happen. We don't know what that means, but here's what we do know. Is Crispus Attucks could be a place where this conversation could happen. We're not judging this. We don't know what's what there, but we could be that place where we could have the conversation about that. Displays about Black soldiers in World War II were removed from some U.S. military installations. It's a conversation. 381 books removed from the Naval Academy Library. Don't know what that was all about, but a good conversation, a good story. Now, many of them were put back. Navy reverses the course on DEI books banned after the Pentagon review. It's a good conversation. And Crispus Attucks wants to be that place where you could come together and we could have that conversation. City crews begin removing Black Lives Matter murals. DC mayor defends the plans for the Black Lives Plaza to be painted over. Again, another conversation that'd be worth having. One that gets closer to home, Wellspan recently canceled a program that they call Black Men in White Coats in response to some anti-DEI policy. Conversation we could have. Crispus Attucks History and Culture Center, that although a rendering is very accurate to what it looks like right now, there's nothing like it. It's a fantastic building. It's a beautiful building. And I have the pleasure of being in there every day. This is a place that we hope for each and every one of you becomes a place that you visit, not just once, but multiple times. A place where we could come together and have conversations. A place where people, and I'm going to backtrack a second. Things that you heard Bobby Simpson say in 1979, and I've done the research. I've looked at the videotapes. I've read the old speeches. I've read the old annual reports. What Bobby was saying in 79, he's still saying today. And it's not a broken record. They truly believe it at Crispus Attucks. You'll hear him say, we don't have to agree with each other, but we can sure enough sit down and have conversations and talk with each other. And we might not get up completely agreeing with each other or walk out of here as friends, but we're going to walk out of here maybe a little bit smarter or a little bit different opinion, small steps. So what I have moving forward here are just some renderings of the building that I'll share with you. What you're going to see is not 100% what it looks like or will look like, because right now we're still in the process of developing the exhibits. So the walls are up, the building, we've passed all of the inspections, everything's good to go. It's now the things on the wall that are being done. So just a quick overview of the building. We have 4 floors. Entry floor, as you come in, you're going to see the Crispus Attucks founders. You're going to learn about the founders. You're going to learn about the Crispus Attucks community, and you're going to learn more about that story of the growth that I talked about in that from 1968 to 78, 79, that time of turmoil, and then 79 on that growth at CA. The second floor, we're going to get into tough topics. We're going to talk about segregation. We're going to talk about the race riots and civil unrest. I actually have an immersive experience set up there. It's a video, audio. It's a circular exhibit that is sensory. It's a lot, but it's telling a story, and it's telling a story in the voices of the people who experienced that turmoil. We also talk about the charrette. We see our role here at CA to pick up where the charrette left off and continue those conversations. I think most people would agree that the charrette was a wonderful thing, and they agreed that a lot of progress came from that. I think the next step is that most would agree that there's still some work that we could do, that there are some things that could continue to improve. On that second floor also, we focus on the oral histories. York County History Center has an amazing archive. They have hundreds of thousands of artifacts. We don't. What we have are stories. What we have are the oral histories of the people who lived through the events. Our third floor, we get into things like the Great Migration. We talk about the concept of freedom and emancipation. We talk about, some tough conversations, some lost neighborhoods in York. There were some neighborhoods over time in the past where the Black community was thriving. They no longer exist. They've become parking lots, and they've become warehouses. They've been paved over. And we want to make sure that we celebrate and talk about those accomplishments. We'll get into the Underground Railroad. We also have a section we call Mr. Simpson's office. If you ever get into Mr. Simpson's office, Bobby's office, he has a corner where he has a little round table, and both of the walls in that corner are floor-to-ceiling pictures. They're pictures of people that have come to visit CA. There's everyone there, from athletes to actors to Barbara Bush, Sidney Poitier, all kind of amazing swath of humanity that has been through that place. So we're going to use those pictures to tell the story of Crispus Attucks. So we've recreated that corner of his office there. We're going to talk about families. We're going to talk about both the legacy families in York, those families who have been here, from the beginning of time. And we're also going to talk about those families who have migrated here and talk about those stories. Music plays a big part in this community, so there'll be a section devoted to music. And genealogy. We find that tracing back Black families' genealogy is not as easy as it is for other groups of people. It tends to stop there in the 1800s. So want to help people with trying to uncover their genealogy. The rooftop is an amazing area. Up there, we'll have directional wayfinding signs that'll help tell the story of York. They'll help orient you as you're looking out. Here's what you're looking at. We'll explain those things to you there. Just another cutaway of what the building looks like as far as the 4 floors. So as we come into the front hall, this is what we call our Founders Wall. That accordion type wall there, you've got, and again, this is not exactly how it will be, but you have Dr. Bowles and Reverend Orr and Reverend Montooth, who I mentioned back in 1931. You have Helen Thaxton there. If you know anything about early childhood education in York, that's a name that comes up a lot. That's our first floor. Again, that's looking at it from a different angle. Again, not completely as it will be when we finally open. I love this wall here, the Give Rise to Possible wall. That's 4 55-inch monitors. And we're able to display on their video content that can either be displayed on 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of those monitors, or any combination of those. It's a magnificent feature. And one thing we did change from the rendering, we actually painted the wall black. So these monitors really stand out. It's amazing. I love it. It's an amazing feature. And the first set of videos that we have produced for there are some of my favorites. Have a cascading stairwell that goes all 3 floors. So you can actually stand at the bottom and look up and see the skylight up above. It's a beautiful feature. We do have an elevator for the rest of us. Those steps can be pretty daunting, but it's a beautiful feature in the building. Just looking again, you'll see some of the civil unrest represented here in the back. You'll see the armored personnel carrier. These are images that, for those who lived through the time, are still pretty vivid for them. Just looking at more of the layout and how things will look. We're talking here, this is emancipation. This is the concept of freedom that we'll explore. Families, again, this is a small representation of the Mr. Simpson office over here, this little corner with the pictures. Actually, the pictures fill the whole wall, but you get the point. We have this amazing large group room, seats 244 people, I believe. But my favorite feature is that back wall. That represents hundreds of hours of work. They're actually newspaper articles that have been in the archives at Crispus Attucks for decades, that we went through, we digitized, cleaned them up, and have had them installed on that back wall. It's really a wild feature. And although I've spent a lot of time with it, every time I walk in there, my eyes drawn to something different. And we think it'll be that place that people will visit frequently. But this is a nice meeting space that we have. So we see ourselves not only being a place of education and a gathering space, but this is also a place that could be used for large groups or performances. There's a stage and sound system in there, a portable stage, an 8-inch stage, an 8-inch high stage, just enough though that we could do community theater, small activities like that. Have an out back courtyard. We call it our Unity Courtyard. It's a beautiful space out back. Again, unlike anything I think you're going to see anywhere else, but runs the length of the building out back. Nice meeting space. I see that being Jazz in June out there. I think that's going to be a wonderful feature for us. And there's just a rendering from the rooftop that gives you a hint of what you'll see there. I wasn't paying attention to time. I hope I stayed within my time, but you want to keep up with us. You want to learn a little bit more. Our website is up and active, CAY, Crispus Attucks York, HCC, historyculturecenter.org. Come visit us, stay in tune. I want to thank you for not asking me when are you opening, because that has been the bane of my existence. I travel, I walk back and forth between the headquarters, CA's headquarters and that building, I don't know, 200 yards. And I promise you, every day I get stopped at least once. Hey, when are you opening? And it's always good-hearted, but I'm out of answers. Like I struggle with that. We have struggled to get open. We're shooting for the spring. We were hoping for August. We were hoping for November. We were hoping for February. Probably realistically March, April. going to do the best we can to get it open. My answer used to be we'll open when we're ready, when it's done, but that's kind of lost its fun. But we're really shooting for the spring. We think that's a good target. That way people will be able to enjoy the rooftop and enjoy the back deck. Like I said, all that's left to do are to finish up the exhibits. And that's what I work on every day, is that. I would love to take questions. I'd love to tell you more if I could.
How was the center funded?
How was the center funded? So that was an interesting story. So when they went public with the fundraising, at that point, they were within about $250,000 to $500,000. They had raised all of the funds in the silent phase. But about half of it came through state redevelopment funds. So I think it was $7 million that came through RACP funds. And that was under Governor Wolf's tenure. And then we had several very generous donors who upfronted the bulk of the money. But half of it came from RACP and then the rest through private funders. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
In proximity to that, where you're located.
Yep. Yep. So if you can picture the Susan Burns Health Center and you can picture the 605 Duke Street, we're right there, right in between. And it's directly across the street from the Early Learning Center. Yep. Yep. It's on Boundary. Its address is 45 Boundary. So it's right off of Boundary, and it's Boundary and Court. Yeah, it's right. It had been several houses, and decades ago, CA knocked the houses down, and it was a parking lot for the longest time. And that's where it sits. Yeah. Yep. Susan. Yep. Right behind Susan Burns. Yes. Yep. Yep. That's a fair question, and I don't have an answer. I don't have the answer, but there are other Crispus Attucks organizations across the nation. Much, I don't want to say, kind of like a YMCA, but they're all independent of each other. So although there are other Crispus Attucks organizations, there's one in Lancaster, I know, they're all independent of each other. How many have one of these? We don't think any. We don't think any have that. And one of the conversations that has gone on for a long time, although we are going to be a place of history, if we were to use just one word to describe the building, we call it the center. We call it the center, more so than we call it the HCC, the abbreviation. The culture part is going to be the part that gets you back here. That's what we see as being the draw. The history, that's great. And what's going to set us apart is our history, although a lot of it is static, a lot of it is changeable. We have a lot of digital content. So you're going to come in fact, I won't go into the details, but we've actually planned out different activities for every week of the year. We have a 52-week plan for activities. We actually have a day-to-day plan. I heard you talk about, kind of your Rotary history. We have a CA history. We can tell you what happened today in CA history. If something didn't happen in CA history today, then we filled in with something that happened in York history that related to that community. We don't have something from York, we have something nationally and on and on. So every day we're going to have some piece of new learning for you, but it'll be the cultural aspects that'll bring you back. Those will be the things that'll change often. Please.
How are you going to promote that to the leadership?
Yeah, we do think that this will be an educational tool for local schools. We know a lot of the school districts, York City, the school district, City of York, they run local history courses. So we see that being a place that we can help to fill out and talk about that. So yes, one of the plans, We have planned multiple grand openings. So of course, we've got to do the traditional, we got to have the big donors and, invite the community and all of those things we'll do. But then we will also have a night where we'll focus on our teachers, local teachers, and bring them in, both the collegiate level, public schools, private schools, homeschool community. We think this would be attractive. And our proximity to Burns Health Center, junior achievement right across the street, it feels kind of right. It's a nice little educational corner there in off of George Street that makes sense. So we do absolutely think that we will be able to fill some holes in telling the historical part. Thank you. Anything else I could answer for you? Please pay attention to social media and our website. Once we have a date, we're going to put that out there. I want to say it'll be hard to miss once we have that date. But we will have opportunity. Would love to host you at some point if you'd like to come out and have a meeting in our facility. Your Rotary Club or your professional life. You want to come out and visit and use our facility, love to have you. Yes, please. I don't know that. I don't know that. What I do know is that January 21st, the York Rotary Club, he and I are going to speak with them.
I first came to York 25 years ago. I used to chant all of them for
Yeah.
But if you missed one, you would
Make it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at that club, and so I was just jumped to the American.
I'll have to ask him, but he's not much different. I always joke he wears sneakers all the time, and I said it's because he's fast moving. The guy keeps moving. Anything else I can answer for you today? I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you very much. We're going to take a picture. And we also have a book that, for a children's book for you to choose from. It's going to be donated to one of the local children's libraries at YWCA or no, not Logos. It just flew out of my head. The Lehman Center, Children's Aid Society. Thank you, Scott. That was very interesting. We wish you the best in opening the facility and we look forward to touring it sometime. All right, unless there's anything else for Tim. All right, so wrap up meeting for Pints for Polio tomorrow night at Victory Club at 5:30. You're welcome to join us. All right, everybody, we're adjourned.